Furious 7 follows Dominic Toretto and his group of friends, more commonly referred to as his family, that are now being targeted by Deckard Shaw, the brother of Owen Shaw, who suffered greatly at the expense of this group, especially that of Dominic Toretto. And it is, of course, the 7th film in the Fast and Furious franchise, a franchise that has been growing, improving, and I believe has suddenly, finally in this film, more embraced and understood what it really is, even to a greater degree than the past few installments of the franchise. Now, I can certainly safely say that this film is, of course, despite the hype leading to it, of course, after the unfortunate loss of Paul Walker, who I will add, they really did a great job of sending off his character in this film, something that really emotionally got to me, something that I thought was subject matter that could have been handled not in the best of ways, could have been done in an incredibly hammy manner, but they really managed to execute that bit well, and I'm glad, considering the franchise is a little more meta nowadays, it's certainly more aware of what it's doing, and in that, of course, it does a lot of great things, though it does do a few things here and there I wasn't necessarily pleased with, which includes the first, well, portion, if you will, of the film, before the real plot kicks in, before the mission that this group is on really does kick in. The film does take time to get where it's going, and it does have a lot of similar scenes with regards to partying, a lot of gratuitous shots that after a point didn't appeal to me. I get that they're part of the franchise, and I get that it's a staple of the franchise at this point, but to me, I feel like they didn't necessarily need to be there the way some things were shot. In fact, certain things were presented visually as they would have been in a parody of a general action adventure kind of film with regards to the presentation of characters on screen, with regards to certain dialogue as well. After a point, you do get the idea that the film knows what it's doing, and that's what I love the most, despite the fact that that is also what does bring it down to some degree, considering the fact that sure, it does try to get away with things a little too much in believing that it doesn't have to make too much of an effort in some senses, can digress from the main plot to bring in a lot of other elements that will work with regards to the film and the franchise, but at the same time don't necessarily work for the plot itself and for the progression of the characters and things like that. I understand that aspect of it, but yet the fact is that in being self-aware, it goes to incredible extremes, and as long as you're on board with that, there is by no means any reason as to why you should not enjoy this film. The fact is, the action in this film is turned up to such a bizarre degree almost that there is this extremity of the reality created within the universe from the get-go. They go to the extreme points, they're willing to push the limits. It was incredibly well shot, each action scene, using a lot of wide shots that I thought was really interesting, and yet blending in quick cuts, something that doesn't necessarily work in a lot of action scenes, but really well added in, not overused with regards to these scenes, bringing about what I believe is the most adrenaline-rushed film I've seen in such a long time, albeit it does take time to get going. I can tell you this, every moment that Jason Statham is on screen and every scene that he is in is nothing short of electric. To add to that, the action will blow you away. I thought I'd seen a lot of it in the trailers, which I had, but then this film presents me with so much more intensity, fantastic sound design, interesting choices of music, of course, a lot of understanding of what the franchise is with regards to who it's appealing to, at times feeling like an entourage film, if you will, for lack of a better comparison, at the same time executing what it sets out to perfectly. While it doesn't set out to reach all the way for the stars, it definitely does reach high up in the sky, in a film that I was expecting a lot out of, despite not being a big fan of the franchise to begin with, especially the last few installments that I know a lot of people loved. I was not necessarily on board with. A lot of interesting choices with Jason Statham, having the film be more aware of just how ridiculous it is, and embracing such bizarreness and pushing it to a new extreme is where this film really thrives, is why I believe that Furious 7 is without a doubt the best of the franchise so far. I'm going to give Furious 7 a yes.